Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. So welcome back to our weekly e-academy sections. So tonight we're going to talk about the Kelana Jaya, or what is the ongoing development during this 2021. Okay. So before we start the tonight's sharings, I would like to ask the audience, can you please help us to share it out this video to as many people as you can, so that they can also come and learn together tonight topics. Okay. So let me share the video out as well. Okay. Okay, please help us to share it out so that more people can join in. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your sharing. Tonight we're going to talk about Kelana Jaya. So what is the current ongoing development in Kelana Jaya? Maybe you already heard about Sunway Serene, Arcuz Glomac, and others as well. But any others latest project that been going on over here? So what about the amenities and government quarter status? Okay, Kelana Jaya still have a lot of government-related officers here, such as spots like PKNS, farm, immigration, custom, post office, post Malaysia, and etc. So, what is the potential of this area, and is it a good for own stay or investment? Okay, so during my time, I think there's a very famous seafood there, Kelana Jaya seafood. I think that is my time. That is, I think that's a memory already. So this week we are honored to invite our IQS Senior Real Estate Negotiator, Chikan, to come and sharing with you these locations, Kelana Jaya. Hi, that's together. Hi,
Hello.
Chikan. Hey, see you again. Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about this. I think you've been living here for some times in BJ. I think you are very familiar with Kelana Jaya, right?
Yeah, kind of. I guess I can say so. Okay. Give me one moment. I'll start sharing my slideshow. Okay. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yep.
All right. So
I pass to you already.
Okay, thanks.
So time. Okay.
So thanks a lot, Jason, for sharing, for giving me the floor again tonight. This is basically my third episode of sharing about property and real estate in Petaling Jaya lah. So today we are going to cover the Kelana Jaya portion. Before this was Damansara, and then before that was a general introduction to Petaling Jaya. So a little bit about myself. I've mentioned before that I have a sales and marketing background, and I have been in this it's been over 2.5 years now. I've come through the ranks with Jason in Affirm Plus Properties, and now we are with IQI Group, IQI Global Realty. Okay, so Kelana Jaya is basically a part of the Petaling Jaya Administrative District. All right, very briefly, just run through. And Kelana Jaya mostly is made up of what was priorly known as Seaport Estates. Oops. Of course, now Seaport Estates also covers Taman University, which I am actually at, but we are right next door, and there's not much of a difference between Taman University and Kelana Jaya. Okay, it's just a few the difference is just a few streets away. We are still in the same section, actually. So what was Kelana Jaya? What is Kelana Jaya? Kelana Jaya was started development in 1983 and was launched by the then Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah. He is the father of the current Selangor Sultan. Okay, so it was launched as a residential estate and also a estate for a lot of government-related offices, like Jason mentioned. and from being known as Seaport Estates, it became Kelana Jaya, and it currently comprises of SS3. This is supposed to be SS4. Sorry for the slight mistake. Sorry for the slight typo, but it's meant to be SS4, and 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so I am actually in this part, but we are split into two. And I moved into this neighborhood in 1998. So 24 years now. Shit. Yeah. But yeah, so I came here during my later half of my primary school years. So that gives you an idea of how old I am, or rather how young I am. And and I've lived here for almost the other half of my life. I've of course spent some time overseas, but eventually I moved back here, and it can be very comfortable here, and I will show you why I am very comfortable here, and also what are the opportunities you have here lah. Okay, so moving forward, Kelana Jaya, basically this entire section of SS3, this entire section, and this is SS3 but split into two. I am in one of the, this kind of gives it away, but I am in this section basically. So a bit embarrassing. I didn't notice that earlier, but I am in this section, and I am on the border of Kelana Jaya. But basically, Kelana Jaya covers this entire section, and in it, of course, the main road will be the LDP. All right, this main road, which takes you to the Federal Highway on one end, and then all the way down to Puchong, which you can then go on to get yourself to other important areas like Putrajaya, Cyberjaya. And then on the other end, you can go to the Damansaras, and then through the back end, if you exit here at the Subang Kelana Jaya exit, you can join the NKVE highway, which you can take to go to the rest of the north and south of Malaysia on the West Peninsula side. All right. So those are the key main roads that we have in Kelana Jaya. Of course, there are a lot of other memorable roads as well within the entire neighborhood, like Jalan Bahagia, which will take you to this one, Jalan Bahagia, and Jalan Majlis, which will take you to the Taman Bahagia LRT station. And of course, we have the Kelana Jaya main LRT station over here. All right. So from this little screenshot, you can already kind of see that we have a lot of big tamans here, a lot of parks, one big main one here, one stadium, another football complex, and we will get a bit deeper into it on how it came to be. All right. Because when Kelana Jaya was launched in 1983 by the then Sultan of Selangor, it was launched as a plot of development to feed the early government staff and government servants, and of course set up a lot of government institutions in the area. So it was developed by PKNS. PKNS is basically the Selangor State Development Authority. Okay, and they of course did a lot of all those developments, which is why we started off with a lot of rakyat directed based developments. Okay, so what some of the key infrastructures which were developed in the 1980s to start off with, apart from governmental offices, some of them are no longer around, but the ones that are still around, of course, are sports associations like FAM, the MBPJ Stadium, which is still used frequently. Before COVID, it became a multi-purpose stadium, apart from just sports events, like the National Football League, MBSJ plays here, PKNS team plays here. Of course, it also held all the school events in the Petaling Jaya region, and to the Petaling Jaya and the rest of Petaling district, they came here for their sports events. So like all the MSSS, MSSMs, and all the MSSDs, all the district sports association events will be held here. Of course, POS Malaysia has its largest petaling um, distribution hub in Kelana Jaya. If you're driving along the LDP, you can see it straight away. It's right next to the highway, somewhere here, next to the giant Yamaha's music center. And then because it was a PKNS directed development, there was a lot of other public sports complexes like the Kelana Jaya Swim Center. This was PKNS's own football and training sports center, where they do a lot of youth development for football, cricket, rugby, and all sorts of other field sports lah. It's all done here. And then of course back then the KL Customs also had their office over here, and it's still here. So like if you have an issue, if there's something wrong with your car import issues, usually it will go through Customs Malaysia of Kelana Jaya here, and all the other things like you see when the Malaysian police or Malaysian customs go raid the airport or shipping issues, usually everything interesting will come up here. Okay, so when I was a kid, when I was growing up back then, right, what was very fun was actually, because it's so near my house, we usually go there just to see what new fun stuff that that customs have confiscated, and it can get quite interesting back then. So yeah, moving on, other public infrastructure, of course, most importantly and most famously in Kelana Jaya would be our lake. Our lake used to be, our lake park, which is actually squeezed in between the MBPJ Stadium, the swim center, and of course PKNS. And it used to be a lot bigger. It used to be about 20 acres, but it has since been shrunk down and reclaimed to just 3 lakes. It used to be 7 lakes. It has since been shrunk down and reclaimed for further development. But the main 3 lakes are still there. It used to be a mining pond, and then it became a flood retention pond because, flooding used to be a big issue in PJ, and of course, it's gotten a lot better ever since. But basically, PKNS developed this for MBPJ to be turned into a regional neighborhood park, and it is still widely used. And a lot of the things which you see in the park today has been upgraded year on year to accommodate for, in fact, its slight tourist attraction status. I was very surprised to find out that the park that I used to go fishing or walk my dog as a kid has gotten somewhat tourist statuses. Tourist attraction status. I didn't know that, but that is what it has become. So it is a very well-maintained park, and in the heart of PJ City itself, it is a very well-maintained park, and it is open to the public 24/7. It is back reopened since we have achieved phase 2 status of our national recovery plan in our part of Malaysia from the pandemic. So if you want to go there, you can go now. It's free of charge. Parking is free. And moving on, of course, earlier I talked about a lot of directly government related services. There are some semi-government and not so government related multinationals which of course still call Kelana Jaya home. For example, the Malaysian Airlines Training Academy is still housed in Kelana Jaya. So very cool. And of course there is a whole apart from MAS, there is a whole section of commercial hubs where a few other MNCs, which we will talk about a little bit later on, still call Kelana Jaya home. Still have a big operating office, or still has or still has HQ housed in Kelana Jaya. Yep. So next, Kelana Jaya. I should have put this on a little bit earlier. As I mentioned a bit earlier, there used to be it was a development hub for government servants and government residences in the 1980s. All right. So of course, all government hubs and government servants will move on from wherever it is. But then this is the SS7 section of Kelana Jaya. This is basically our Mont Kiara of Kelana Jaya. Okay, if you go by here, you see a lot of fancy houses that are that were built for and were resided by very high-ranking VIPs in Malaysia. So my neighbors have included the former Menteri Besar of Selangor. We've also had royalty stay nearby, and they all stay very nearby, comfortably in front of KGNS Club Golf Negara Subang. So that is how special Kelana Jaya has been to me and also to the rest of Petaling Jaya as a whole. All right. So since then, since first development in 1983, coming towards the 1998 Commonwealth Games in Malaysia, a lot of additional development for over the past 20 to almost 30 years has been put into the Kelana Jaya township. All right. We have had a host of government-related development bodies, government offices, set up additional branches and HQs. Set up additional further development and also their offices in Kelana Jaya. Of course, we have also been supported by a lot of private sector developers, all right, and a lot of their own private sector projects. These are just some of the names that I remember, can recall, or have found and put in here. All right. So moving on, what have they brought us since first development in 1983 to, I would say, since 1998? Because a lot of these brands which you see, a lot of these companies came in, especially since 1998. They have brought us huge shopping malls, huge supermarkets, additional development in the background. This is actually which is High Park Suites, and this would be Kelana Square, developed by Malaysian Southern. All right. And of course, what do you call it, residences, high-end residences like this, high-rise residences. And it has become a very complete township in the sense that we have shopping malls that have five-star hotels right behind. We also have shopping malls that have basically everything covered, all your household needs covered. We have supermarkets to have your household needs covered, and we have offices with MSC status buildings. Okay? And of course, most importantly, in all the development leading up to the Commonwealth Games, what was set up was the new LRT system, the very first light rail transit system in Malaysia, which linked up with the older now LRT line, the older now called LRT Star Ampang line. Back then it was called something else. I cannot recall now for the life of me. I'm very sorry. But back then the very first LRT station started here in Kelana Jaya. All right, and which is still very heavily used even during the pandemic period, because it is one of the main pieces of transportation that people use in Kelana Jaya. I was one of the users back in the day when our main office was in Bukit Bintang in KL City Centre. So these are some of the developments that has been brought with the 1998 Olympics, and also since its first development in 1983. All right. So what other additional developments have come along since then? Of course, would be the extension of the LRT line. I've spoken about this earlier on in my Petaling Jaya series. As you can see here, it used to end here in Kelana Jaya, but it has since extended on this end all the way to Putra Heights at the end of Puchong, and on the other end it still stops at Gombak. But further extensions are being discussed, and on top of extensions, brand new lines are still being built through this township. Kelana Jaya's yet to be named Station 3 LRT Line 3 LRT station will be stopping right here behind Kelana Square, all right, which is a multi-block, multi-story office building. Okay, and so yes, the yet to be named LRT station line, the LRT Line 3 station, is going to end here, Station 3. All right, a lot of trees in there. Sorry if I get confused, but yeah. So just to give you an idea of how much of an interest Kelana Jaya is in the eyes of national town planners and also developers. All right. So moving on, what other forms of infrastructure, important bits of infrastructure that's still available and can be found in Kelana Jaya would be things like universities. Just put in, I just put in tertiary colleges for today's slides. Of course, we have a couple of private schools and institutions around, which has since, I'm not sure of the status, what is it right now, so I did not want to put in because of the MCO, whether is it still open or closed. But so tertiary education, I know for certain it is still available and still in use, and has been, like a lot of other buildings and a lot of other public places of public interest, has been used for turned into vaccination centers. So if you just put in colleges in Kelana Jaya into Google, you will come up with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tertiary education centers in Kelana Jaya itself. All right, and some of these, like Vision College, Lincoln, and of course UNITA itself, has been turned into part-time vaccination centers also. I know for certain Vision is still a part-time vaccination center. I'm not too sure about these two right now. I think they have since been since been reoccupied by the university itself. But yes, so just to give you an idea, this is the amount of development that has been put into Kelana Jaya itself. So Kelana Jaya as a town, as a township, is not just has evolved from a government servant township into a much more mature and much more business savvy town, to the point where right now we are going the phase of trying to turn it into an education area as well. So to cover for a lot of the housing requirements due to education and also, of course, offices, there is plenty of development in Kelana Jaya, which you can look into as form of investment. Yes, Kelana Jaya is still a very interesting place to invest in, not only for own stay, as comfortable as it looks and as convenient as it is. Kelana Jaya is still a much desired location for investment. And of course, yes, this is a real estate talk, so of course I'll talk to you a bit about investment. Okay, you can't get away from that. I'm very sorry. But what sort of investment, what sort of things, what sort of residences can potential investors like yourself, if you're viewing as an investor, look into when you are looking into Kelana Jaya? I'll start off with sub-sales first, because if you're urgently looking, because now is a very good time since interest rates are low, prices are also slightly lower, and of course you always want to buy low, sell high, right? You can look into completed projects by Gamuda, which is High Park Suites. This was completed 2019. The handover period was between 2019 and last year, very difficult, but developers managed to get it through and managed to complete the units there. All right, so High Park Suites was developed by Gamuda Land. and it consists of it's a high-rise condo, of course. It consists of what do you call it, duplexes and regular single floor units, and they average about 1,000 ringgit per square foot. Okay, so this is currently available for sub-sale in Kelana Jaya for investment purposes, because it is strategically located itself here, which is right next to the universities. And what's actually behind here but not popping up over here is POS Malaysia itself, and of course a slew of offices over here. It is very convenient. Right opposite over here is where the the Kelana Square offices, which I showed you earlier, was at. The future LRT Line 3 LRT Line 3 station will end up here, and you will have Paradigm Mall, which was developed by WCT, already completed, conveniently located here, along with the giant supermarket, which is also in this group of developments. Okay, sorry, a lot of lines in here, but yeah, a lot to talk about on one single map. And then moving on, if urgency is not one of your, if you are not urgent, you can look into upcoming projects which are under construction, like the Sunway Serene project by Sunway, of course. This is at the very tail end of Kelana Jaya. Right next to it is the Sunway Free Trade Zone. Although it's not a part of Kelana Jaya, but because they're neighbors, and it is very much suitable for own stay and or investment, because there are a lot of important multinational factories over here. Like this one itself is Western Digital, so you can expect either a lot of Western Digital execs buying this spot, or potentially renting from it in the future. Of course, moving inside deeper in, you have other big multinationals like Omron. You also have semiconductors in Taiwan Semiconductors Manufacturing Company, TSMC, having one of their major manufacturing hubs over here, and basically they make microchips, and a few other tech-related and also microchip-related factories in this area. All right, so you can expect a lot of rental services from the high-ranking execs over here in Sunway Serene itself. Okay, another project that we can talk about that's available up for grabs in Kelana Jaya, right opposite POS Malaysia, is actually here. This is Malaysian Palm Oil Board. 𝘊𝙬's office is here. This is 𝘊𝙬's College. Oh no, post office is here. Sorry, this is Yamaha. So right opposite that, along the LDB highway, you can look at Plaza at Kelana Jaya by Glomac. Glomac is a big, not say big, but then it's one of the key important developers in Kelana Jaya after PKNS. A lot of the infrastructure, and office buildings, and also the immigration office buildings, and upgrades and maintenance contracts were all handed out to Glomac, and Glomac basically was helped reinvigorated, or not help further develop Kelana Jaya during the early 2000s till now. Okay, so they have had a lot of ongoing, and they have a lot of completed and ongoing projects that are being developed in Kelana Jaya. All right. So lastly, we can also look at the Arcuz, or Arcuz, however different people pronounce it, by Exim, which is a developer which we work very closely with. At 850 ringgit per square foot, they will be building the condo with the first infinity sky pool in Petaling Jaya. It's also going to be the only, and of course the highest, sky pool in Petaling Jaya, in Kelana Jaya. All right, it is a multi-facility, multi-story high-rise condo, very beautiful, in the heart of Kelana Jaya itself. In fact, it will be a few it will be a stone's throw away from the Paradigm Mall, and also a few blocks away from the Kelana Square Mall, Kelana Square Office Centre, which is right next to the upcoming LRT Line 3 Centre lah. So in terms of conveniences, this development will provide you not only that sort of facilities like shopping and office and also transportation, but of course conveniences inside in terms of the number of facilities, sky pool and all that. Like this is one of the renderings of what the sky pool will look like, and also of course a wonderful view that is overlooking 4 golf courses around the Kelana Jaya and Petaling Jaya area. So you start off with Tropicana to the north. To the south, you will see KGNS and of course Glen Mary, and to the west, you will see 𝙁𝙗𝙗, Jana, which is actually somewhat right next to Glen Mary itself. So, yeah, development. I mean, Kelana Jaya is a very mature and well-developed township. It is, of course, not stopping right there. There's going to be additional development in terms of these are just residences, because we are sales agents which work more with selling residences, but of course there are a lot of office and also public infrastructure coming up, like LRT Line 3, just to name one that I can think of right now. All right, so that is an end to, I mean, that ends my sharing today on Kelana Jaya, and I will hand it back over to Jason. Yes.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for Chikan this sharings, because I think he's been there for some times. I think he's very familiar with the area. Okay, so if anyone have also live in PJ or not, you are not in PJ, maybe you also can you have any question you want to ask regarding this area, you can test in the comment, so that we can try to help as much as we can. Or if you're looking for anything in this area, do feel welcome to contact Chikan, so that he can do some recommendations. You're looking for some houses around this area. Okay, any questions so far? If not, or before I end it today, please do a comment on PRO Pro, so that you can get our free ebooks for today content. We will send it to you. Okay, thank you everyone for coming tonight, and thanks Chikan for the sharing, and have a nice day. Good night everyone. See you in next week, same time, same place. Okay, good night.